Welcome to the Hockey Writers Ink, the show where the writer is fresh off the presses and the ink is not dry. Relax, the keyboard is off and the press box is closed, but the mic is just getting warmed up. Join your host, Lance Green, the guardian of the blue paint turned writer, and your co-host, Ron, SteelFlyers, as we bring you all the latest on the Philadelphia Flyers. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the next episode of the Hockey Writers Ink with your host, Lance Green.
All right, guys, back once again with your latest Flyers-centric podcast from the Hockey Writers Ink. Steel, how are you?
Oh, man, I'll tell you what. First of all, let's just say this, man. Happy New Year's to everyone. Hope everybody had a great holidays, great Christmas. All that. How was your New Year's, Mr. Lance Green?
My New Year was pretty good. Spent it with family and all that. But I don't think it's a new year, new Flyers.
Yeah, it wasn't such a good New Year for the Flyers. Yeah.
Same old Flyers.
Well, first of all, we would like to say thank you to all of you out there for tuning in and for checking us out. Please, if you like what we do, hit the like and subscribe, man. We really appreciate that. It really helps us out, man. It keeps us rolling. But please hit the like and subscribe if you like what we do. My name is Ron SteelFlyers. I'm your co-host, and this is the Hockey Writers Ink, a Flyers-centric podcast, a ranked Flyers-centric podcast. That's right, folks. We are in the top 10 of all Philadelphia Flyers podcasts. All you have to do is go out there and type in Hockey Writers Ink, and you will see us plastered all over everything. So be sure to do that. Go check it out. Give us a 5-star rating. We'd really appreciate that. Also, big props and thanks to Jake and the boys at Lowercase Blues for the intro music. Man, you got to be sure to go check them out, man. Lowercaseblues.net. Go over there, check them guys out. They got swag. They got all their dates listed there. They even got some videos. You can check out what they sound like. I mean, you can hear what they sound like with the intro of the show. So I don't know about y'all, but I'll be going to check them out. Lowercaseblues.net. Check them out. Jake and the boys, thank you all very much. Lance, what do you say we dive into episode number 186?
Let's do it.
All right, here we go. Episode number 186. And the Flyers are at the halfway mark, and well, they're just not quite what we thought they were going to be, right? So
Definitely not.
Yeah.
Teams, what, the 6th worst team right now, projecting if the season finished right now, with the lottery, they might pick in the top 5. Yeah, I mean, at this point, why not, right?
I mean, what? I'm sorry that I just did that, on camera and everything, but
Attendance
seriously, though,
is down.
Yeah.
Some of the worst attendance by the Flyers faithful, in a long time. I think they're kind of tired of this lackluster performance. We know they're rebuilding, but they've been rebuilding for years now.
What are we, 3rd year now into the rebuild?
It depends who you talk to, but I mean,
You're right, yeah.
I still hold true to once you got rid of Voracek, and that was 4 or 5 years ago they started, and then they got rid of Giroux, and then they started down that path.
I think once
before
the Giroux,
Danny Briere got in there.
I think once the Giroux a block tumbled, I think you could consider that at that point a rebuild, because at that point he was your cornerstone, he was your captain, he was basically everything that your team was. He was the franchise himself. You know what I mean? When you trade that away, that basically is a huge unspoken indicator that, hey, we're rebuilding. We just traded away our captain, our franchise player, and the guy that we've had on our roster for over 10 years, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean?
And that's why I say about Voracek, too. Both those guys were here for 8 to 10 years together. And, once they broke that up, they realized that, the fans at least should have realized that, okay, we're going to do this thing. We're going to do a rebuild and, try to do it the right way. And not saying they aren't, but it's just slow moving process right now.
So that's one of the things that I want to kind of talk about here, and that's kind of where we're at here. The Flyers are halfway right now through their season. They haven't quite played 42 games yet, or is game 42 tonight, or something crazy like that, I think is where they're at. And with the record that they have, I mean, they're 17 and 18 and 5 or something, and they have 36 points. They're fifth in the division right now. I mean, okay, look, I understand that you're in a rebuild.
Sixth in the division now.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
we played last night. Yeah.
Sixth in the division. But at the halfway junction, we thought we would have more of the W's than more of an even, or more losses than W's. I mean, we thought we were going to have way more W's than losses. I mean, look, I'm not saying that I was expecting the team to come out and be, 30-6 and 2 or something like that. I'm not expecting that. But I was expecting at least the same level of what they were last year. I don't even think they're at that level right now. Lance, do you?
No, I don't think so. I mean, you look at the team last year, and that's why we're judging it on, guys, is, yes, we know they're in a rebuild, but they had success during the rebuild, and that was why they kind of brought Tortorella in, because he over time has gotten the most out of players that he did have, and got them to kind of overachieve and everything like that. And so far this year, I don't think anybody's overachieving. Konechny's achieving at the rate he should be for that player, but everybody else has kind of been underachieving. In my mind, of course, you got Mishkov, that got added to the bunch this year. So, I thought they would be that much better. Granted, he is a rookie, and I didn't expect him to, do as well even as he is doing, with 12 goals and 29 points on the year. But, he's kind of doing his part. He's learning on the fly. And I just thought they would be better at this point of the season than they are currently. And it's getting to that point, Steel, where you're hearing a lot of calls. We talked about it before. A lot of trade rumors surrounding play. At this point, you're the sixth worst team in the league. You have 3 first-round picks, potentially 3 second-round picks. Let's make it the best they got. Let's go. If you're going to get rid of somebody, do it now. Make a major move now. Morgan Frost's name's still circling around the drain there. So do it. Pull a trigger. Do something. Let's get some more draft capital. Something in that sense. If you wanted to add for the future, I think you could. As Steel, I just sent you the LA Kings, who I wrote a couple articles about, and who the Flyers have a longstanding trade relationship with in the past, calling them the West Coast Flyers. Just put Arthur Kovalev on waivers right now, and he's 23 years old. He plays both sides of the wing, 6'2", 209 pounds, amazing shot. Big time goal scorer for the Hamilton Bulldogs. 51, was his highest goal totals, with over 100 and some points in juniors. Had good seasons with the AHL farm system for the Kings as well. And, he's got as many goals right now as Sean Couturier does, with 7. So why not? Let's go. Let's shake it up. I don't think he is. He's $825,000. His contract's up at the end of this year. He's a restricted free agent.
He's a winger.
He is a winger. But we do have a bunch of wingers. But if you're gonna move somebody, a Brink has been in those talks as well. This would be a cheap, easy replacement for one of those guys for the rest of the season. You get to see
Okay.
what he looks like, and if he's
Yeah.
not great, you don't re-sign him.
Okay.
Simple as that.
I all right. Listen, I understand what you're saying about that, but here's my kind of take on it. I would much rather you not make a move for a winger, and if you're going to do anything, you do something for a center, and you do something that's going to help the team now, because you have more than enough help for building the future with the draft pick that you already have. If you can get a grade A level player or a grade A level prospect, even I would take that. You know what I mean? And do exactly what Lance said and make the move now. Okay? The Christmas holiday trade restriction has been lifted. That was done on the 27th of December. What are you all waiting for? Do it now. Look,
Yeah.
if you're going to continue to come out and say that you're going to do this, and this, you know, because you want to try to make the team better, okay, well, why do you have to wait until what? The end of February is when the trade deadline is? Right?
Teams are already making trades now.
But the point I'm trying to make here is that by the time you wait to February to make any kind of move, it's going to be already too late, especially if you're continuing down the trajectory that you are right now, which is, you know, play 5 games, lose 4, win 1 in a shootout. You know what I mean? And you can't string games together. You can't. You don't have enough support to, when you do have the lead, that you can't sustain the lead. You know, you're giving up the leads on how many of the last couple of games has the Flyers given up the lead on, you know, in the third period and then losing in the end. Look, that comes down to players, that comes down to coaching, that comes down to the whole 9 yards. You know what I'm saying? So I'm that's exactly what I'm talking about here. Make the move now. Don't wait. We have plenty of draft capital. If you want to get some more, that's cool and that's great. But you need centers right now. You need centers that can score, right? And you need defenders that can defend. I don't need to have a barn full of defensemen that are offensive minded. Great. Trade them to somebody who needs that. We need some defensive defensemen. You know what I mean? I'm so sick and tired of hearing about all these offensive defensemen. Well, when you're a minus player, you're not able to do it on the penalty kill. You're not able to do it on the power play. You know, don't even get me started on the power play. Look, all we wanted to do was say, hey, let's get the power play to a certain level, and we can't even get it to that level. Like, really? There's too many missing parts to this moving machine for y'all to think that you can be in contention for this year. It was almost insanity to think that you were going to put virtually the same team minus Carter Hart and then inject Mitchkov and expect to be the same team that you were the previous year, a hardworking, overachieving team. Clearly, you are not that. Okay, and that's the whole reason why the whole inspiration by the title of this is, look, we still don't know what this team is. At this point in the season, there's still no identity, I think, for the Flyers. Do you?
No, there's not. I mean, they're not winning the games that they should be winning or that they should be close against. You know, they beat the Sharks. They beat the Ducks. Okay, those are two of the worst teams in the league for the past 5 years, 6 years at least, maybe longer. So that is like Steel said, that is the games we're winning. We're not close against the Golden Knights. We weren't, you know, we were in it versus the Kings, but we always play the Kings tough. But you know,
right,
you're taking overtime or a shootout to beat the Blue Jackets. I mean, this isn't
right.
the team that we saw last year. And if coaching staff can't get it back to that point, there should be questions there. We already talked about that. People called me crazy then, but
Here we are.
Tortorella and his staff was brought in to do a job, which they did last year for the most part.
Somewhat.
For the most part, the power play and the penalty kill kind of sucked. Penalty kill better than the power play, obviously, but
and still kind of do.
it's still kind of do. The defense is still chock full of minus players as well as the whole team. The identity's not there. Goaltending, we can talk about that in a minute. I mean, there's no solidified number one goaltender, and the goaltender that got hot in Ivan, you're not playing him even with injuries occurring, and he was settling in and getting really hot and bringing those numbers down that save percentage up, and now you just
put him on the shelf.
Put him on the shelf, and I don't get it, because it's not like the other two goaltenders are playing outstanding. They're giving up 4 or 5 goals a night.
See, Lance, that's a perfect segue into what I wanted to talk about next, and that's this goaltending. Can we see Fedotov already, please? Seriously, please. I've seen a lot of chatter in social media and some articles that I've read and other things like that. And here's the thing. Look, I understand that you probably had to promise Alexei at least a shot at playing in the big league. Okay? You've had 10 games, maybe 15 games, maybe to play here with the Flyers, 12 games, I think it is, whatever. And we've seen flashes, but we also see that you need to spend some time down in the AHL and learn the game, and learn the North American game, and learn the NHL game. Okay? Because I think we're facing the same kind of issue that we saw with Ivan when he first came over here, right? He's got good, sound fundamentals, but the game is a little too fast, and they're reacting a little too slow, right? And tell me if I'm wrong. I mean, you're the goaltender, you're the expert on it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, no, Alexei's got a win percentage of games he started of a 0.36, and it's even worse if you factor in when he's coming in relief. So it's not like he's lighting the league up on fire. He's had flashes of decent games, but 3.45 goals against average with a .870 save percentage isn't great. Now, granted, Ivan's was worse, but is still worse. But he hasn't played lately, and it seemed like he was getting it all together when Urison went down earlier with an injury, and he was playing really well, and he was gaining some wins and different stuff like that. And then they just kind of put him on the shelf there, and I don't really know why, because in his last 2 games, he let in 2 goals in one game and then 1 goal in the other, and like I said, he was really starting to get going, and I think as for me, I when I played, I always enjoyed time in the net, and I thought that was best when I got consecutive starts and could gain a certain repetition. And I think Ivan is used to that. He's used to starting games night in and night out for his clubs. He's used to being the guy, and it's a new league, whatever like that. It's a little bit faster, a little bit different. It took him a little bit, but he was starting to get going. And I'm not saying he's the answer by any means, but I'm saying he could at least be
what do you got to lose at this
an
point?
option to be brought back in here, because I don't see the other two, blowing me away.
Well, now right now Erison is hurt again,
Right.
right? And so I believe he was put on the IR. Okay. So now you're going to have to see, you're going to have to bring him in off the shelf at least now. I think you're carrying three goalies. You put one on the shelf because it's IR now. I guess you need to bring the other one off. But that's one of the things I wanted to talk about. The fact when you see these goalies struggling, okay, and you try to give him, some reps and stuff like that, and then when you started to see Ivan Fedotov was starting to get those reps, and he was starting to get coming good. Like he had those last two wins, he had only let in a total of 3 goals, and that one game he was peppered with shots,
Hmm.
right? I mean, so at this point, what do you got to lose? You know,
Really nothing. Really nothing.
nothing,
I mean,
right? Let's go. Let's
it's
see the
not
guy
like you're
in
blowing
there,
the league away on,
right? What? What's the worst thing that can happen? He could get hot and win you a couple games. Oh no, we couldn't have that.
That probably is the worst thing at this
You
point.
know it. Oh my gosh,
The team should probably start to tank or trade away some players at this point so that they can get another Mishkov in the
or
draft,
something,
another Lachenko, something
Oh
to
man.
help this rebuild.
By the way, a quick little deviation from what we normally talk about here, but watching Lachenko in the World Juniors, he was quite impressive. And so was Bonk, actually, if you must be honest. Those two players were quite impressive playing for the respective Team Canada. But anyway, well, those players did really well, I thought. You know what I mean? Played really well. So, um, okay. So we talked about we need to make a trade now because let's face it, they need help down the middle. Okay. And you got to bring in somebody that can help you now, clearly, right? And I also think too that we need to, as good as I think Sanheim has been to this year, as well as he's played this year. You know what I mean? I just he just doesn't come across as like the number one guy, the number one D guy. You know what I mean? Like he kind of has that. When Provorov was here, Provorov got most of the minutes, but he just didn't come across as the number one guy.
Yeah, no, I mean, yes, he's developed. He's better than he was. I was not a big fan of Sanheim before. This season in 39 games, he's got 6 goals,
Yeah.
15 points, 20 or 15 assists for 21 points. He's a +3. He's one of the only plus players on the team right now.
Right.
But I don't know. I agree with you, Steele. I don't like his contract. He makes far too much money for who he is.
Yeah.
He's being asked to be the guy when he's really not, the
Yeah.
guy. He's a great accessory to the guy or, assistant to that guy. But, $6.25 million, you gave him a $50 million deal. I don't know. I mean, I know the price of a good defenseman is going up there, but you know, having to overpay one for now 8-year contract that we're stuck with him at this rate, I don't know if he's the number one guy. I don't think he is, especially not on a playoff contending team, which the Flyers hope to be
Yeah.
sooner rather than later.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's a head scratcher there for me. I think he's lucking out because we had nobody else. I think
Yeah.
it was a good move to move Provorov. He's obviously not succeeding, you know, where he's at. So I don't know, but I don't think I would have paid him that much money now.
I definitely wouldn't pay him that much money. I also think that it just seems like they're kind of using the defense a little bit, or hey, look, I have never laced it up, and I have never skated in anger. Okay, but after over 30 years of watching the game, okay, and I see how this defense is playing, and I see how they're using the players that they have to play on defense, and I'm really just not liking the schemes. I'm really not liking how they're quote unquote trying to play defense with the players that they have. Okay. I don't need a whole handful of guys jumping up on the play. I need guys back there pinching that can hold the puck in, that can keep the puck in so you can maintain possession while you're in their zone. I need forwards that their first thought is to skate the puck in, not dump the puck in. I have such a hard time with you willingly giving away possession of the puck to give yourself less of a chance to get back possession of the puck by shooting it 3 or 30 yards forward. Please, somebody explain that to me. What?
I
Help
mean,
me.
I hate it too as a goalie. I mean, you want to see the team go up the other side of the ice and not come right back down on defense again because they gave up the puck. Guys work hard to get the puck battle, in the boards and everything else, and get it out of the zone. Yes, I get that you got to go get a line change in, but I'm of theory that the guy carrying the puck should carry it deep in the zone, kind of hold off and wait until new reinforcements come off the bench, and then find his way off. Once they take control of it. I always hated the dump and chase method. I've had coaches in the past that thought it was the best thing, and it's clearly not. Anytime you have the puck possession, just like in football, possession of the ball is key. Possession of the puck is key. Having that time, wearing down that team in their own defensive zone, is going to do more for you than dumping the puck in and having to skate your butt off just off the bench now on a change and try to chase the puck into the zone. And now, as soon as you get back on the ice, you're now exerting yourself to try to regain control of the puck. I don't get it. I don't like it. I never have, never will. And like Steele said, I just don't like the concepts. I don't like the coaching. The power play was doing a lot better. I think they're 28th in the league right now, percentage wise. So we're going back to old bad habits. I'm just not liking how they're playing the game. It was exciting towards the beginning of the season, seeing Jetlachenko, seeing Mishkov go and be able to do what he wants to do and kind of create plays and stuff like that. But I think he's being kind of choke collared by Tortorello, obviously. And you got to let those guys play. Yes, you want to teach them, defensive side of things. There's a problem, but when everybody else on the team who's a veteran player has a worse plus minus than him or most of the other young guys, I don't see how you make it so much of a strain on him. When the whole other team is struggling. I mean, Owen Tippett's a -12. Mishkov is only a -8. Morgan Frost is a -10. Why don't you address it with some of these players? Joel Farabee's a -14. Why don't you address it with some of these players that are, been in the league a lot longer than that? And, Mishkov's trying to do things above and beyond to help his team win. And hey, he may not be the best defensively, but he's the best option besides Travis Konechny that we have offensively. So why don't you just shut up and let him play offense at this
Lance,
point?
I gotta be honest with you, man. I was gonna, I wasn't sure how you were gonna react to that and what you were gonna say as far as how that was gonna be, and I agree with you 110%, man. At this point, you quote unquote teaching the kid, look, some things I understand you need to teach, especially a kid coming in who has never played in this league before, who's never played in the NHL before. I understand there's going to be some lessons you're going to learn and blah, blah, blah. And I told y'all way back in this, when we drafted him and when we knew that he was going to come here and play, and I told y'all way back last January that this kid was going to sit some games. And there was going to be some times where he wasn't going to play. And y'all are going to have to just get used to that fact. Okay? He's 19. This is the first time he's ever played in this league. Okay? Connor Bedard did not play all 82 games last year, right? Okay? And Celebrini's not playing all 82 games this year. Uh, Now, granted, some of them were for injury, but not all of them were for injury for Bedard. You understand what I'm saying? And I guarantee you that's going to be the case with Celebrini. There's going to be that wall that they're going to hit that everyone hits because let's face it, you only play 2/3 of the amount of games in juniors that you do play in the bigs. The same even when in college. You still don't even play that many games in college. You know what I mean? So there's going to be times where the kid's going to sit. You got to give him some help and you got to let him just play. Okay? You got to let him go out there and do his thing. Look, if you want to teach him the responsibility of being defensive responsible, then yes, those are the lessons you need to teach him. Okay? But sitting him down because quote unquote this or quote unquote that, look, we're not in the locker room. We don't know the ins and outs. We don't know the relationship between Tortorella and Mitchkov. I saw a quote from Mitchkov that said that he trusts Tortorella and he appreciates the fact that Tortorella is an honest person and has been honest with him since the day he got there. And when Tortorella has something to say, he doesn't beat around the bush. He comes right out and tell you. And he says that he appreciates that. Now, this is coming from a 19-year-old, okay, who doesn't quite learn the language yet. He said that he's able to understand what Tortorella is saying. He's just not able to respond back to him yet. Well, that's where he is with the English language, right? Okay. You got to give this kid some room to grow. There's going to be some ups and downs. There's going to be some gives and takes. There's going to be some games he's going to sit. There's going to be some games he's going to play really great, games he's going to play really crappy. Just how it is, man. Just how it is. Every single one of them. How many games do you think Stamkos sat in his first year? Many. What? How many games do you think Sidney Crosby sat in his first year? Many. People look at you like, what? They sat games? Yeah, they sat games. They were healthy scratches. Yeah, in their first year. Because you're a kid. You don't get it. You're going to have to learn.
Yeah, no, I get it. I get it with the fact that he's a kid and all like that. But I mean, to jump on him about stuff that 10-year veterans on the team are doing much worse than he, I don't get it. And for just my own sanity, I mean, you have a problem with centers.
Yeah.
And you brought in a guy like Anthony Richard. And he played 7 games with you and scored 6 points and was a +4, but he's not playing any more games. You have a young guy like Emil Andre, who came in and played really well, and was a plus defenseman. When I think there's only one defenseman that's actually a plus player on the team right now, but he's not up, and other people are still. Jamie Drysdale's. Maybe he needs to take another night off.
Yeah.
Izumala is a -13. Maybe he needs to take a night off. Some of these other guys, and let some guys wake up and realize they need to start playing, because I don't see the same intensity as I did last year. I don't see the same team staying in games, and even if they lost last year, they were in the game to the final seconds of the game, and they were not giving up
exactly
until that final horn went off. And I just don't see that. I don't see that this year. If you're going to lose, okay, but lose with dignity. I don't see them losing with dignity.
I'm going to say this now, and then I want to get into the other part of the Flyers. I still think there's a lot of stuff that needs to happen here with this Philadelphia Flyers team. And here's the bright spot, and that is, hey, how about those Lehigh Valley Phantoms? So we're going to segue into our Lehigh Valley Phantoms section, where we're going to focus on the Phantoms. So how about that? It's a Phantoms focus. And I got to tell you something, folks. I got to do a big shout out here. First of all, to Mr. Rotrup and to the Lehigh Valley Phantoms. for allowing SteelFlyers to cover the game on December 28th. We were in the house, and Lance Green was also in the house too. So, but we were able to take some great pictures. I posted them out on Facebook. I will probably use one or two of those photos as we talk about the Phantoms here. So I wanted to say big thanks to Mr. Rochuck and to the Phantoms for allowing us to have media access to the game. And what a great game it was, man! Against the Checkers, that was a good game. Ended up 2-1, and the Phantoms pulled it out. And speaking of the Phantoms pulling some games out, how about the Phantoms 6-4-0 in the last 10 games? Man, I'll tell you what, they have jumped up in the standings now. I mean, they're starting to, like we talked about last show, they're starting to turn the corner a little bit now that they've gotten some of their guys back, like Richard. You know what I mean? Like Gendron. Those guys leading the way, you know what I mean, with goals. 13 goals for Jacob Gauchard, and for Gendron's got 10. Luxell's got 9. You know what I mean? So you're starting to see the Phantoms now starting to turn the corner.
Yeah, I mean, I really liked another guy was Tumala. I thought he was absolutely flying out there.
Yes, he was.
To really get to see him play in an actual full game and not just a preseason game.
Yeah, it
was great because he just flies around the ice, guys. And the defense was solid too. I like the play of Helgi Grans there, and
clearly Emil Andre being back to the
Emil Andre, obviously, he's their cornerstone down there on defense, and you see why he gets a lot of ice time, and that's partly why the Flyers want to keep him down there so that he can get top line minutes. But I think he's deserving of another shot if somebody on the back end goes down for sure for the Flyers. But
I wouldn't care if somebody went down. I think he needs to be up with the Flyers anyway.
If they got a break, I think it'd be nice on the Phantoms. I think it'd be nice for him to come up for a game to get another game or two of, some NHL time. And as the season goes on now, I wouldn't mind at all if the Flyers stay where they are or get worse. Seeing a lot of these guys play the last quarter of the season, let them play. Let them play. Let them get some experience. Let's see what we have.
You have to. You have to. You're going to have to bring up a lot of these guys anyway at the end of the season, especially if you stay where you are. You know what I mean? And depending on what the Phantoms do, you know what I mean? Last year, the Phantoms made the playoffs. I think if they continue on the trend that they're on, I see them continually building and building. You know what I mean? They play really well against the good teams. The Checkers is one of the top teams in the league this year. You know what I mean? I think they're like fourth or fifth best team in the league. The Checkers are, as far as points and everything else like that. So I mean, that was a good game that they won.
Second best in their division. Yeah, I mean they got a tough division for sure. Hershey,
right.
Charlotte, the Checkers, Wilkes-Barre's always going to play them tough. Providence Bruins are ahead of them. They got a mess.
That's a tough debate. Yeah, exactly.
They got a mess in the Atlantic. Yeah.
Exactly. And it's tough, right? And it's tough sledding. Literally. Tough sledding. But no, and I'm really liking kind of how we're seeing Ian LaPerriere, coach down there, has been kind of driving these guys and being the one he's their biggest cheerleader. I have actually turned the corner on how I feel about LaPerriere's coach down there. We really all thought at the very beginning that this was kind of a head scratcher as to why he would be relegated to the Phantoms, especially when we had a really good guy down there to begin with. You know what I mean? And things just kind of fell apart. And Ian LaPerriere has basically just taken and put the team on his shoulders and has coached pretty well, I think, all things considered. You know what I mean? With what he's had to deal with over the last 2 seasons as head coach, where what at one point almost a third of his team is called up to the bigs, right? And he's playing with guys from the ECHL, from Reading, from wherever to get guys out on the ice and still able to put a pretty decent team out. I've been pretty impressed with what he's done.
Well, I think he's more in his realm right now. He's a great player development coach when
Yeah.
the Flyers had him in that, aspect.
Mhm.
So, working on the running the PP and stuff like that for the Flyers really wasn't his gig. I think he's doing what he's good at now. He's developing young talent, and wins or losses to me in the AHL really don't matter. I don't care if they bring
Yeah.
home a Calder Cup. It's about developing talent that is gonna get up to the next level and perform and be able to perform there. And that's what he's doing. And I think Jason Smith is great down there too.
Yeah, I agree.
Flyers captain. Great young, defenders coming up in the system here. And, what a great mind to have standing behind them, whispering in their ear when they come off the bench,
Yeah.
making suggestions. So,
Exactly.
I
like
think
that
they
too,
got
yeah.
a good. I think they got a good crew down there coaching, and I think it's showing that the team is starting to turn the tide there. Because the Phantoms were pretty rough for a few years there, but I like the fit down there. If you haven't seen a game, please go.
Yeah.
It's worth the time. It's a fun atmosphere, live
Yeah.
bands playing, great
Yeah, man.
food.
Melvin's good.
Yeah, you can get in and get out of there pretty easily.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not a bad seat in the house. So please,
No.
take the trip, go up to see a Phantoms game if you haven't, or if you haven't in a while. Please do so. Support them. There's some very talented players playing with them right now. So.
Especially get to see, the future of the Flyers playing right now with the Phantoms. And I think that's exactly how they have it set up now, Lance, where they're not necessarily setting the Phantoms off adrift on their own island as their own team. It's more of a support system now for the Flyers,
Right.
where you're seeing a lot of the younger guys playing down in the Phantoms because now they can get top line minutes where they weren't going to get those kind of minutes up at the Flyers.
Right.
Right. So now you're seeing more of the Phantoms being used as a development instead of more of a, on their own kind of team. But, Lance is right. It is a first class organization. You need to get yourself down there to the PPL Center and check out a game. They take good care of you down there. It's a great atmosphere. Just like Lance said, there is not a bad seat in the house. You know what I mean? And it's good, exciting hockey, and it's the future of the Flyers. So be sure to check them out. So. Looking forward to a tough sledding for the Phantoms coming up here. They got some tough games coming up, but they are at home here for the next couple games. They have some quite a few batches of home games here, a little bit mixed in with some away games. I think Tuesday they're playing at Hershey, so that'll be an away game there. But that's a tough game for them coming up here at Hershey as well. So. Be looking forward to seeing some more Phantoms coverage from the Hockey Writers Ink folks here for sure. We're going to be doing a lot more of that as time moves along. We're going to be getting more and more into the Phantom section, and we might even break away and have our own little segment. I don't know yet. We'll see. We'll see. So, Lance, anything new in the works?
Just been taking some time to watch World Juniors. That was amazing.
Oh, man.
Some great young prospects playing in the tournament, and working on getting a couple. I was just texting prospects right before we jumped on here about trying to come on the show. So, yep, some big things there.
Yeah, man.
Brewing an article. Recently put out the top 5 forwards in this draft class coming up. I'm going to be working on a defense as well, top 5 defensemen in the draft, and then goaltenders after that. So look forward to those. And always when I can punch out an article or concerning the Flyers. Looking forward to that too. So
Yeah, man. Good stuff, man. All good stuff. By the way, you have to go over to the other show that we do, Prospect Watch. It's steelflyers.com/links/Prospect Watch show. Go check that out there. We have spoken to quite a few of the players that are playing in the World Juniors right now, and quite a few players that are going to be drafted in this upcoming draft here in 2025 NHL draft. So be sure to check that out at Prospect Watch. Also, if you like what we do, please hit the like and subscribe, man. We really appreciate that. That really helps us out. Also, big props and thanks to all the Facebook groups. We really appreciate you guys allowing us to post our shows. Lance gets to post out his articles, and we really appreciate all the great feedback that you guys give us, man. That's one of the reasons why we love that audience and why we love posting this stuff out there, man, because it's a great way to just get a feel for the Flyers and the fans and how they feel, and they're very appreciative and very knowledgeable because the Flyers fans are the most knowledgeable in the world. So big props and thanks to all the Facebook groups out there. Also, big thank you to Jake and the boys at Lowercase Blues. You got to hop on over to lowercaseblues.net and check them guys out. They got all their swag up on there. They got all their dates that you can go see them at, and they even got a couple of videos. You can check them out as well, too. So big props and thanks to Jake and the boys at Lowercase Blues. Check them out at lowercaseblues.net. Thank you for the intro music, and thanks for being a great group of musicians and for helping us out, man. Thank you very much. Go over there and check them out. Also, big props and thanks to Sports Spider, who carries all of our shows and puts out all of Lance's articles that he writes, and also all of our Prospect Watch shows and everything else that we do at Steel Flyers. Big thanks to sportspider.com. Also, if you're really feeling it, you need to hop on over to Draft Utopia. That's right, draftutopia.com. They got all the latest on every draft, from football to basketball to baseball to hockey, you name it. That's why they're called Draft Utopia. Go on over there and check them guys out. They got it all going on over there for sure, for sure. Thank you very much, Lance, for all you do.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man. Happy New Year, and a great look forward to the new year for you guys. And thank you all very much for tuning in and checking us out. We will catch you all on the next episode, The Hockey Writers Ink.